Got one more before we fire you. I'm kidding.
All right, welcome to MCBC podcast for August 8th, 2024, coming to you live from the Mount Zion Studios at 7102 Mount Zion Boulevard in the strong city of Jonesboro, Georgia. What do you guys think about Jonesboro? You love it?
I don't
You like it a little?
I don't mind it.
It's just got
This
no
is
feeling.
considered Jonesboro, not
Yeah,
Morrow.
if you go across the street, we're in Morrow, so
Oh.
we have just cities
Morrow's
everywhere.
not so cool, but Jonesboro's great. Or Chick-fil-A.
I never knew Jonesboro, Georgia existed in many, many years of my life, and now I've lived almost as many years here as I have other places, so that was just a strange thought I had the other day. We were thinking also that Heather and I have been together longer than we were apart. That's weird.
Wait, what?
We've been together longer than we were apart. Like we've been together 25 years. We were 21 when we got married, and so that's kind of a crazy thought.
Dang.
You
That's-
spent more time with Heather
Than my
than your own
family.
self.
Well, that's true. This is so true. Yeah, I'm aging rapidly. So welcome to the podcast. We are just hanging out. It's cold in this room today, better than last time.
good.
Yeah, it says 65, and it's cold to this guy. But better than last time was 90, I think, the other day when we were supposed to record. So praise the Lord for air conditioning repairmen. We love them. How was your
Shout out.
last time we gathered? We had not a lot going on. We were just... you were just said, your season was wrapping up and you were getting ready for the next.
Oh, the season's here, boy.
Yeah, the next one to
We're
come.
in it.
It's like, we're back on
The
it.
storm is back.
How's your studying going?
That's going too.
So you haven't given up on the study? And,
No.
Okay,
I
good.
can't, not in this season. I can't do it. but
Okay.
I'm still studying, trying to commit.
If you had to say this is a random question, I know, in your accounting world, what is your why?
It's a deep question,
That is
man.
a deep
Right on the
question.
spot.
Yeah, just throw it at me like that. I mean, what is my why?
Yeah,
in
for
accounting?
accounting.
I guess in the field that I am now, my why would be to be as a resource to people, to clients more so, not to people, but to clients who are, I guess, find taxes to be daunting or scary.
Like
and-
most of us.
Like most
Yeah,
people.
okay, yeah.
And more so because when you hear accountants, like, oh man, this guy is coming to audit my books. He's about to give me all the problems I have. Whereas what I do in my profession is more so, hey, you could save money here.
Yeah.
You could spend a little more here and not here, and this is where you can help yourself out of as far as your tax returns. I think that would be the
Okay.
overall
It wasn't
why.
a trick question. There's no wrong answer. I don't even know what your why is, so you could have
So what's
literally
your-
told me anything. It was just a meeting I was in
For the
earlier. That
money.
question
Well,
came.
that was going to definitely be the first, but I had to think about it. I said, I am.
What
here
was
for-
your first?
For the money.
For
I
the
am
money?
here for the money. Don't get me wrong. I do like making the money, but I think that would be the second one.
Oh, okay. So, Sandy, how has your time been since we last gathered? Your family has...
It's been depressing because they're gone, so I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
You're not... The thing is, you're not kidding.
Kidding, but not
But
kidding.
the depression episode never hit the airwaves, so we can't
It
relate
sure
to it.
didn't. Wow.
Nope, you didn't see
No.
that.
Wow.
But no, it's cool.
One of the best we recorded.
I agree.
Is it?
Don't you think?
I guess
Me and
so.
you walked away from that one, I thought, feeling like, man, we really invested in that one and put a lot out there.
Just for
And it
network.
sounded like R2D2 the whole time, so we didn't get to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But so it has been a different...
Yes. But no, it's been good.
New hair color,
Oh yeah, that's different. If you're watching, my hair is back to being
the logo.
something different. Apparently, it's because I'm out in the sun too much. I don't know what that means, but
Oh man, I'll tell you what, this is inside that no one will know about, but yet last night Sandy walked in with people walk in and you just know their life is don't mess with me right now, I'm just here because I'm obligated to be here and
Yeah.
Jesus told me to be here. And so she walked in last night with that look and I was like, whoa, what's up with you? And then right when I said that, someone says, what were you, out in the sun too long? And she was just like, this is what she said, and it made me laugh. I don't even know what that means.
but I didn't.
That means
But-
did not warrant a response.
That's exactly right. I told Heather when I got home, she definitely knew what he was meaning, but she was just like, not right now.
Did that come from an older gentleman?
Maybe, yeah. So it was funny.
But yes.
So what? So about your hair, like, what do you do? Just like, now I'm gonna go this color. Now,
Yeah, I was just bored. Need something different. Can't stay the same.
Okay.
For too
Well,
long.
I mean, I like it. It's life.
Thanks.
What
yeah.
color have you not done?
Green. Never
Yeah.
done green. Why?
Like lime green or
Like green, any green.
like you could pull off lime green.
Yeah. See, you
I
could.
You pulled off every other color.
I mean, I guess pull it off. Sure, I can. I
think
know
it's
I can, but-
Emmanuel. When we get around to March, if like we want to try to do like some different things for St. Patrick's Day, you do your hair one green color, and you can do yours a different thing, and I'll just like get that spray stuff you put on bald heads, and we'll.
Oh,
I'll
you
just
do
come
your
in.
beard.
I'll do my
Yeah,
beard.
just do your beard.
Do you, when I was the children's
I don't
pastor,
think it would work though.
Yours,
It would-
but it
green?
would. But the first thing you have to do is bleach it blonde.
Oh no.
Because when I went
can't go
to
to work like that.
when I was the children's pastor, we went to Chaco Springs, and if anyone out there has ever been to Chaco Springs, you get
color.
like green, red, yellow, blue. That's your team you're on the whole time. And so I did my. We knew we were red before we went. I bleached it blonde, bro, and went bright red. And
You
that's when I had
bleached
like
it
the
before?
big beard,
Yeah.
and it was
I think
bright.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was bright red for like 2 weeks, and then when I came back, it was pink like your hair was, and so I had to just shave it all off because I was not walking around with the
Wow.
pink beard. But
You're so
for
cool.
a week as a children's pastor, I was super
was
cool at that
strong.
camp, and little kids were like coming up like, "You're awesome, we love your." I was like, "Thanks, I
The
know."
dedication.
I'm super cool. Thank you for that. And then I got old, and now it's gray, and I can't.
So now you can put any color on it without bleaching
Ooh, I
it.
don't have to bleach it anymore. I skip a step in the
There
process.
you go.
Oh man, so life has been really good. I think since the last time we came together, we have baptized a couple of people. Another person this Sunday. We have kicked off school again with Mount Zion High School, and hopefully connecting with them very soon for some community type project things. And so I have no complaints as far as ministry goes. Do you? You got any complaints about me?
Nah.
No. Okay. Good. Thanks.
I do want to see now a beard color.
Okay, I
one
mean,
of these Sundays.
I'll try
Besides
one.
gray.
Okay, I'll do
You
it
know.
one day. You know, I've thought about doing just for men, like the thing you brush in, like the pepper. But the people tell me no, don't. Like, just stick with
Brings
your
the wisdom.
Gray's wisdom. Maybe trying to fill wisdom. I didn't ask you the question. I asked you, man. What is your why?
For this job.
For
Well then.
why did you say it like that? Yeah, because I mean for his job, but your job. Worship
Jesus.
leader, Jesus.
Generic church answer.
Yeah, there was a video. You guys may have seen it, but I went to a pastor meeting earlier, and the guy showed a video there. And there's this guy speaking at some point. He asked this gentleman in the audience, like, "What do you do?" And the guy's like, "I'm a middle school music teacher or whatnot." A big dude, and he's like, "Can you just sing Amazing Grace real quick?" And he was like, "Oh yeah." So he just sings Amazing Grace, and then he was like, "Okay, but I want you to sing it this time, like you just got out of prison, like you just got this happened, like your life is really like some crazy things happen, and now sing it with that kind of energy." And the dude like belted it out like he was like an opera singer, like really, really beautiful. And he was just making the point that what you kind of said is what you do. Like you do these things, like this is my job. I do this, and what you do is like sing and plan and do all these things. And what I do is preach and teach and try to encourage people and those kind of things. But the why we do it will drastically change how we do all those whats that we do. If that makes sense.
Yes.
And so I just think it's important for us to remember the why, especially because I know Sandy and myself, I'll speak for Russell, I know myself can get very down about responses or about just things. I don't know, but just many things. And then all of a sudden I'm in this funk and like, dude, how do we get here? Like, look at all these good things going on. And I think that sometimes on the podcast we talk about that a lot, and it's like the circle that keeps going, like, oh, things are good, things are this, you know. And so I'm trying to learn to remember the why. As we're doing it, because God is doing just like so many cool things.
Definitely. I agree.
And we see it all
Definitely agree
around.
with that. Your
Yep.
why does matter. Regardless of what you do. The why is what, well, sometimes it is the money, but the why should definitely.
Definitely not the money
Trump.
for me.
Okay. The why should definitely trump as far as like you said, the mundane. Well, I get up 8 o'clock in the morning. I
Yeah.
eat breakfast. I travel to work.
Yeah.
And then I go, but come back home and do it all over again the next day. But I think when you start, like you said, embracing this is why, and you find, and the key is, I guess, finding your why would be the half the battle.
Yeah.
And then on top of finding it, living it and doing it would be. I think it brings more fulfillment in what you do.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. That's a great
It
opinion.
was a great reminder for me currently because, like you were saying, you know, how as leaders we tend to just, it's a cycle. It's good, and then it goes back to bad, and then it's good, and then it's bad, and I think I'm in that bad cycle currently. And so just being reminded that the why is why I'm doing it is gonna help me come back to the good. But right now I'm in the bad, and it's not necessarily like a bad thing to be in my opinion, because I you gotta self-evaluate sometimes, and that way you can shoot for better. But I think that's where I currently am, and that's why yesterday I was probably in a funk, and you catched it immediately because I wear my emotions on my face, and I can't help it. So
Gotcha.
Yes, you do that. You do that.
But
And
yeah.
I agree. It's important for us all to be reminded just from time to time. And I agree. I think that we run through similar stages, you and I don't know why, but we seem to go down, like, be in those moments at the same time. And it's like literally nothing happened. This is what happens, I've learned in leadership. You have one thought and one pattern and one way that you see your vision of what God has told you to do. And then being able to clarify that and explain that to more than one other person, or even like 2 or 3, to a whole group, is very hard. And then you start going like, whoa, what did I say wrong, or what did I not demonstrate, or what did I not make clear that's what I expected? And then, oh look, now I'm a jerk because I had to bring it up. And it's like, man, like,
why couldn't I just sit in the back of the room and let someone else bring up the problem?
And you got to be so careful with the way you word things too, because if you say like there's a problem, then everyone's like, well, what's the problem? Like, what is it?
Are you okay?
And you're like, wait, no, let me backtrack.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I think that's part of it too. I'm always like going, wait, I'm not saying you're doing anything bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that what we're doing could be more excellent. You know what I mean? Like,
It's like, well, but see, within your position, the only bad part is like, all they hear is, well, I have a problem.
yeah.
They don't hear let me back that up. It's like, no, forget everything he said after the problem. It's like, well, he said, this is where I'm bad. Now I'm just a bad human. But I agree. It's like, sometimes you have to, I'm not gonna say choose your words wisely, but more so,
That's exactly.
not necessarily you. We have to kind of understand how to choose take it with a grain of salt. Choose the listening, because it's like, he's not saying you're a terrible human or you're condemned to the pits of hell, but it's like, yeah, we're doing this good, but we can do it so much better. And I think that's where you're coming from.
Were you about to say something? I think that is exactly it, because I'm like, I go away so many times feeling like I am totally not that. Like, I'm not all that you're thinking I'm saying I am and you should be.
Right.
No, that's not it. It's just like, I know that the scripture calls us to be devoted 100%. And if I come across as like, I'm devoted, why can't you be devoted? Then that's a jerk way to come across. But that's really like, man, we can do it.
Yeah.
I promise you we can do it. So it's just like a delicate battle, both, yeah. But definitely a delicate balance in leadership. And so I think I was reminded today in that meeting. Also, I love when it's a Southern Baptist thing, so there was just all guys there, right? No girls are allowed. No girls allowed. This is not true. If you want to go, Sandy, you can go. But there's a million guys all in a room, right? But I will give it. There's something powerful like in worship when there's just guy voices, and everyone is in that meeting today with our pastors, and so we're typically worshiping, but we're about to go speak, and so there's a feeling there when you do that. I don't know if you've ever never done that. There's like you feel that like last song. Yeah, you're counting it down, and then like every time before I go up now, Rico sits right behind me. He'll be like, "All right, go get him," or he'll say something. Nothing's like a little sports.
Thanks,
thing.
man.
That's what I said Sunday. Like, thank you. I'm gonna go get him. But there's like a feeling. But today it's like no one's speaking. We're at an event. Someone else is speaking. Yeah. So we were just freely worshiping and singing, and that was powerful. And so I felt like God just used today. I don't like going to those things. First of all, like I try to avoid any kind of gatherings of groups of stuff like that. But I feel like it's healthy for your soul sometime to go back and remember the wine. I didn't even know that's what the guy was speaking on. That's just what he spoke on. So it was kind of cool. Nice. So what else? Anything else? And we'll get into our lives or whatever we're talking about for today.
Field day was fun.
It was fun until the next day. My allergies beat the mess out of me. So field day, I don't know if we said it clearly, but that was last Sunday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm allergic. In case you didn't know, I'm allergic to everything natural outside.
Oh.
We can get into that.
It was only 96.
Forget the heat. I was good that day. I woke up the next day, couldn't breathe, sneezing, nose was and I must have got bit by something. Can I tell you two comments I've heard since field day? Go for it. One, E-Man's a
terrible loser. Like, he's a sore loser.
I admit.
As long as you know it.
I am. I don't like to lose.
Number 2, Ruth is very competitive.
Yes. Wow. I didn't know that was both coming in my direction. Okay. And you know what's funny? She said, I probably shouldn't have been so competitive because I was at church. I'm like, Ruth, we weren't on the same team. What did you do?
There were
cute.
very competitive people all over the place. So, yeah, she just fit right in. But, yeah, that was cool. Field day, people were like, I haven't done this since I was like in elementary school.
Since the academy was open. I haven't done a field day. Egg race, I didn't do a 3-leg. I don't care all 3-legged. But I haven't done any of those since... That was a long time ago. I made myself, but since the academy,
it wasn't
open,
as long as when I did it.
I know.
So,
I was like, go ahead.
Guess you got to.
But it was still fun. Yeah, people had a good time.
It was fun. I definitely recommend doing it in the spring.
Isn't that more allergies?
Well, I was saying more so the heat, but I've been living with these allergies for 26 years, so.
As with everything, I think that we go into like all those events with our why and what we're doing it for. It's like just the fellowship. Like, I could have cared less who won the first and second. Honestly, everyone could have cared less either because they were so hot. They were like, am I getting a ribbon? No? Okay, I'm leaving. They were out of there. It was so hot. But yeah, I think every time we come together, like I said in class last night, and it's not specifically something for your age group or like you're involved in and you show up, it's just encouraging for people to see you there and build that family atmosphere and that dynamic. And so we have that here a lot. And so we're super blessed in that regard.
Agreed. We do have a new member, part of the team, but I'm not gonna be the one to introduce him.
Wait, here right now?
Part of the team.
On this team?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they can't see him. So
well, I mean, they can at least know who it is.
Well, we did bring in a new. We're coming up with his DJ name before we started, so we don't know.
DJ, fill in the blank.
DJ
Leave us some comments.
DJ Dre Lee. Boom, 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 boom.
You can do that.
So we have
some fireworks.
We have brought Andre in to replace Star as our producer, and we are going to take the pod to the next level based on what we talked about before we started. And so I'm excited about that. Our heart for the podcast, right, is so that people can get the gospel, so that people can.
Sorry, he's talking to me. What? You could this is really informal, so it's the last episode of the season.
Oh yeah, there we go. So we're gonna end season 3 as we make some changes, and not because anything was bad, because we word this thing right, but just because we have a heart for living out the gospel, want people to know how to do that and how to get connected to our church, any church, and Andre's going to help us do some marketing things, some just honestly what we've heard before from other people, structural things that will help us get it together. We've heard that more than once, and that's fine. I'm not, and I know my gifts, and I told him right away, I'm not a structure guy. I will follow your plan though if you hand me a plan.
By all means. And
because Star was so good at like coming up with that things, they talk about these things, but then to getting it to the table. We'll take one more step this time, and so we're excited about that. Welcome, Andre. We'll get you a microphone back there, like in real podcasts, where you can chime in from time to time, because I do like when the producers and other podcasts do that. And so we'll jump in. So we were still going through stories from the Bible that we are rereading and trying to see where we start. So Sandy, you can just take us to whatever we're going to and get us wherever we're gonna.
It's Exodus 14. Right, we're starting there, or did you want to?
Well, I think that before we just jump to Exodus 14, like what I think you should just tell us everything that's happening up until this point.
I
think you should start from. I think you should start from the ark. Walk us up through.
From the ark.
Walk us up through.
Pastor's job.
Noah sending out the bird to go see if they're dry land.
The rainbow came.
Yeah, the rainbow came. Okay, yeah, there you go. We're getting there.
Okay. No, we're not doing that.
Quick bullet points. Outline. We don't.
So we did end last time on Cain and Abel.
Yes.
Yes.
And the offering that wasn't accepted, and one that was, and then boom, death. And we talked about all that. And so now we're going to move on a little further into the life of God's people as they are in captivity. Well, I guess we could start there. Why were they in captivity? That's a question to you guys. Why?
Well, that was a question.
Yeah.
Why were they in captivity?
Why did God let them?
Why did you look at me?
Well,
that sin, for one. I mean,
turning away from God. God gave them over into their enemies, and they were God's chosen people, like we said last night, and they didn't want to accept that. And, well, maybe they accepted it too much, and we're like, well, since we're chosen, we're special, so we can act how we want. God allowed them to be slaves. He allowed them to be, for the Egyptians to just be doing all these things. And so God called who to free his people? Moses, right? And he came to him at the bush and said, you are the man. And Moses, we know the story, told him all the reasons why he couldn't be the man. And God so clearly just said, no, this is why you can. You can't speak. Aaron will speak. You can't do this. This person will do that. You'll go there and tell him I said to do all these things and whatever. And so now in this moment, God is taking Moses and going to Pharaoh and saying, what's the famous phrase from the movie?
Let my people go.
Let my people go. And what happens when he goes to Pharaoh?
Pharaoh's like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no.
Why would I do that?
I'm probably not going to do that. And so then God lets plagues be in Egypt. 9 plagues, is this true? Maybe? Lots of plagues.
Flood the water, locusts.
Now, if you can name all 9 plagues, you win the trivia for the day. Hold on. I mean, let's just start from what was the first one?
Blood to water.
Yeah. Second one?
9, yeah.
Second one are my biggest fear in the world.
Locusts?
No, I'm not scared of locusts. What am I scared of, E-Man?
Frogs.
Frogs.
That's right. I'm trying to go back to the movie. Then right before, one of them's
Gnats. Flies.
Wait,
These are all disgusting things. Yeah.
They went frogs, gnat, and flies.
So frogs.
Yeah.
Then the gnats. Then the flies.
Then
The death
locusts.
of livestock.
Then
Isn't that grasshoppers?
then the livestock all die.
Okay.
And
Locusts
then
is somewhere around here.
everyone gets boils.
Okay.
Bro,
Yeah, I would've lost.
our government is acting up and we're all getting
Man,
boils. There's gonna be some riots in the street. Like, get it
Riots.
together. The 7th plague, hail fell from the sky.
Now locusts.
The 8th locust, finally 8th.
Wow.
You've been saying that since 1 or
Like,
2.
I know locusts is in
You
there.
went from the blood to water, water to blood, and then locust. Like, you were ready. And then the 9th plague was just darkness.
Yeah.
And then
He killed his firstborn?
The-
Firstborn? Or was that a part of the night?
And then the final plague says threatened, and he goes to him. I didn't read this whole part, but this is finally where he says, okay, you could go. You guys just get out of here. It's too much.
You
It's
got
too
that
much.
up.
So he says go, gets him out of there, and then immediately has
Change of heart.
a change of heart. Yeah. And why did he have the change of heart?
God hardened his heart.
Okay, but what he was probably realizing, like, these
Who
people
gonna do
are
this?
who's going to do all these things now.
Yeah.
And so they immediately go after the people, and then you can take it over from there, Sandy. I did that. We did it. We went from.
We did it. Yeah.
Skipped
And
a
now. Huh?
So we skipped a lot, but we
Skipped the first
did.
Passover.
So now Moses is saying, let his people go. And then Pharaoh lets them go. And we're on Exodus 14. This is where the famous, what is it called? Wave, sea, whatever.
the famous parting.
The
Parting?
parting.
Parting, not party. Parting.
Yeah, there's probably a party on the other side, but parting had to start the party. Yeah.
All right, so we'll just read. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and camp in front of Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. You must camp in front of Baal-zephon, facing it by the sea. Pharaoh will say of the Israelites, they are wandering around the land in confusion. The wilderness has boxed them in. I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them. Then I will receive glory by means of Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did this. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about the people and said, "What have we done? We have released Israel from serving us." So he got his chariot ready and took his troops with him. He took 600 of the best chariots and all the rest of the chariots of Egypt, with officers in each one. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the Israelites, who were going out triumphantly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, his horsemen, and his army, chased after them and caught up with them as they camped by the sea beside Pi-hahiroth, in front of Baal-zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up and saw the Egyptians coming after them. Then the Israelites were terrified and cried out to the Lord for help. They said to Moses, "Is it because there are no graves in Egypt that you took us to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Isn't this what we told you in Egypt? Leave us alone so that we may serve the Egyptians. It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." But Moses said to the people, "Don't be afraid. Stand firm and see the Lord's salvation. He will provide for you today. For the Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You must be quiet." The Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to break camp. As for you, lift up your staff, stretch out your hand over the sea, and divide it so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I'm going to harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will receive glory by means of Pharaoh and all his armies, and his chariots and horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I receive glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." Then the angel of God, who was going in front of the Israelite forces, moved and went behind them. The pillar of cloud moved from in front of them and stood behind them. It came between the Egyptian and Israelite forces. The cloud was there in the darkness, yet it lit up the night. So neither group came near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. The Lord drove the sea back with a powerful east wind all that night and turned the sea into dry land, so the waters were divided. And the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with the waters like a wall to them on their right and their left. The Egyptians set out in pursuit, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen, and went into the sea after them. Then during the morning watch, the Lord looked down on the Egyptian forces from the pillar of fire and cloud, and threw them into confusion. He caused their chariot wheels to swerve and made them drive with difficulty. "Let's get away from Israel," the Egyptians said, "because the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may come back on the Egyptians, on the chariots and horsemen." So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea returned to its normal depth. While the Egyptians were trying to escape from it, the Lord overthrew them in the sea. The waters came back and covered the chariots and horsemen, the entire army of Pharaoh that had gone after them into the sea. None of them survived. But the Israelites had walked through the sea on dry ground, with the waters like a wall to them on their right and their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the power of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. When Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and believed in him and in his servant Moses.
There's a lot happened in that.
We've all been to the beach. You ever think God could just go out there and just
That's
blow
crazy.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Simple answer, no.
Wow.
I mean, you ever seen that the meme of Godzilla, where it's like, how is Godzilla standing on the bottom of the oceans? You know what I mean?
No.
You've never seen that meme?
Yeah, Andre, you seen this? Yes. I must be too old. I've never seen this.
In the movie, Godzilla stands in the water, and they're like, "Whoa, how long are his legs?" But it's like the ocean is pretty deep, so it's like,
yeah.
Imagining that is crazy.
Yeah.
So E-Man asked before we started, did Pharaoh die in the water too? I think he did. I mean, he said no one survived.
Yeah.
He said not one of them. And I mean, I think back in that day, like Pharaoh would have led his army into
in the front. Yeah.
But yeah, lead from the front. It wasn't like now. Like I mean, maybe some people lead from the front.
I think now it's like
a little different.
I got other generals that can do that.
Now we just fly a drone over it and like blow it open. So what are we taking out of this? Like, what do we were talking about, there's several things we could break down in this. I mean, but it just starts by God going before them, I guess, as he promises before this and after this and all throughout Scripture that he will go before us and that there will be maybe not just victory, but he has just gone and prepared the way. Yeah. And so I think we see that as he hardened Pharaoh's heart. And I think
what does that mean?
That he hardened their hearts. I think it was exactly what Andre was saying last night in Bible study, where God takes away the conviction, like he takes away the there's no sensitivity there. Like they're hardened, they're mean, they're like they have no care for anything. He just makes them just go on. Then y'all just leave. Like there's no more. Because I guess if his heart wasn't hardened, then he would have cared about his people and cared about his country and been fearful of God that would possibly do something. But he just
not soft.
Not soft, yeah.
Okay.
Like in several places, God hardened people's hearts, right? Like there's a couple different scriptures where he says he hardened their heart. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was kind of exactly what he said last night, that sometimes that conviction feeling, that feeling of not upholding the holy standard of God as you're in sin. And Pharaoh didn't even have that holy standard of God. He was worshiping all types of things. And so, yeah.
So God does that?
I mean,
according to Scripture, in this case, I mean, I don't know if in all. Well, it has to be in all cases. I mean,
God does
harden people's hearts so that things happen according to his plan.
Well,
I'm
I think
assuming, yes.
I think that's the better way to say it. I guess.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't think we. I'm gonna harden my heart today. I don't think we're doing.
I mean,
that.
sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, "Ugh, forget everybody.
But it's, yeah,
Well, yeah, I don't know that when we're waking up with a hardened heart that God's done that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think in this situation, he hardened it for his purposes to be, to happen, to take place. We wake up with hardened hearts because we are just jacked up people with sinful natures, and we're like, I can't stand humanity, or I can't stand whatever. But more people, some of us tend to wake up with hardened hearts more than others, I would say.
I think so.
But isn't that interesting that he did that? Like, because, I mean, Pharaoh let them go, right? And then I guess he had to change his heart. But the Lord did that to, you know what I mean? It's such a weird concept to
But I think it's interesting, but more so for the fact of,
like, I get it.
the whole story of the Israelites is like they turn back, turn away, turn back, turn away, turn back, turn away, and he basically said, "Okay, I know you guys are gonna turn away. Let me further show my power by saying, okay, I'm gonna let you go, get far out near the sea. So much so, I'm gonna let Pharaoh's army come after you. A big old cloud's gonna come cover you, and in the night, this is within the scripture that they said they didn't even bother him throughout the night. I think that's important to notice because, well, if he wanted to kill him, why didn't he just go and basically bring them all back throughout the night before I guess I don't know what time of day they did all this, but why didn't Pharaoh's army attack then? Whereas God's like, I'm still protecting you even now, even though I know you're gonna turn back away from me a week from today or however much time. But I think that was his purpose of hardening his heart, just to, hey, have some, and Moses, I guess Moses said it, but have some faith in me. Or Moses said it to the Israelites, have faith in God, and be still, just stay. But I think that's where I kind of interpret.
You agree?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't have to agree.
no, like, I get it, but I'm just asking just to make you think about it, because I get it. I get the reason why he did it, but
I think the part of I don't know that I think sometimes we read this part and talk about harden Pharaoh's heart and they leave and then we skip to the end where I don't like reading about that part where he had the clouds separating them from being able to get there overnight. I never really paid attention to that, but yeah, just another way God showed, like, I'm going to protect you one more time, like one more time. I'm going to show you can have faith in me and trust me, and I'm going to do my thing. And God so often in our lives, I think we would probably attest to this, will take us out of our, they weren't necessarily comfortable in Egypt, so I wouldn't say out of their comfort zone, but out of a situation, and he is leading us to another situation where in front of us we see a sea of water or we see like a mountain that we can't climb, or we see a task. And even like in real life things that we deal with, as we lead praise teams, as we lead staff, as we lead youth leaders, there's so many things that God's faithfulness and us remembering that we're leading people that are broken, wander, and drift at the same time, that forget just as easily as these Israelites did. And so we're the same, but we're vastly different, I think, in a lot of ways, because God has been so faithful in our lives, but we will so quickly become ensnared to whatever depravity and all these things. So these guys are going, they get to the edge of it. And so I guess, what is your thoughts as getting to the edge of something and then having to like trust God? Have you ever experienced that in your life, like where you were like at the point of, that's it, this must be it, God, you let us out here, like they said, to die, but then God changed it? Maybe not that dramatic.
Maybe not that dramatic. I think just from a life standpoint, I think when you graduate high school and you don't know what's next, or even graduating college and you don't know what's next, I think it's like, all right, God, I'm at the sea now. I'm at the shore. Split it. So I think those are, just from my experience, those are the first things that come to my mind. Is like, okay, I graduated high school. I kind of knew where I was going after high school. All right, probably going some college, I guess. I'm not going back. I can't stay home. And then college even more so. It's like, okay, I really don't have like, school's done. So what's next for real, God? And then he keeps on providing. I think that's when he splits the sea. It's like, hey, go to work. Not,
there it was. Yeah.
Not like that, but yeah, I think that would be the closest thing for me as far as experience and hey, I'm at the shore.
And I think maybe we're right there right now, like in some.
I was just thinking about that. I don't know, cause it's like, when they were at the edge of the water, right, and then he split it to make a path for them to walk. It was a good thing, but sometimes, like, you're at the edge, and it's not a good thing that opens up, but it's like you have to step into it because you have to make change and get out of your comfort zone, and then through that get like refined. Is that making any sense?
Yeah.
In my head it made sense, but saying it out loud I felt
I
like it didn't make sense at all.
I mean, I was just trying to put together your broken thoughts, but like, are we saying like sometimes like what God puts right in front of us may not be like the final destination or the exact answer, but like you have to take the step and then like you're in this new place where you're not in this place and
yeah, kind of, yeah. Because I was thinking about like what in my life happens that is a good example of this, but I was like, maybe when I left like my home church and like I was leading worship there, right, and everything was good, and I was like, this is it, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, this is it, God. But then God was like, no, you're not. And then we moved and left and kind of had to start everything back over again. But I was like, but I thought this was it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but he opened it for more opportunities. And through that I grew, yes. But so like that opening of the sea wasn't like a freedom thing type of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It was more like a beginning to a freedom type of thing. Like to lead them on the journey of being back in the relationship with God that they were supposed to be. Like it was a part of the process.
Yeah.
I was trying to track.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
tracking with your thoughts.
thinking out loud sometimes.
No, it's fine. It's what podcasts are for. Yeah. And so it's like, yes, I'm trying to think of a situation in my life where I was been like up against it and like had to make a decision. I don't know that God parted the waters when I went from high school to the military, or if that was just like me having to do something. God obviously made it happen. He's in control of everything. And so that would have been like a moment in my life where I had to be like, what am I doing? I'm not going to college. Like, God, come on, something. And he opened those doors for me, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, Sandy. Like I know God has. I think what I take out of the Red Sea story and God continuing to prove His faithfulness and thinking about it as a leader, a pastor, a dad. I mean, even like as a friend, that there are going to be certain things in life that we are going to come up against, that we're going to have to literally trust God up until the point of, if you don't save us in this moment, we are done. And then God always proves to be faithful in that moment. And there along that process, there's the process of redefining us, yes, of fine-tuning us, yes, of putting us on the program or the path is a better word, to righteousness and His holiness. But that's what, and so faith, like trust as a leader, those types of things. I
just think of when God shuts one door, He opens up another one. That's the only thing that comes in my mind. But I think we always think of, I'm picturing a hallway. We walk through a doorway. We see the other door. It's closed. But as we're getting closer, it's like, hey, open that door now. And then we're at the door, reaching for the doorknob. And it's probably not until we actually turn the doorknob, it's like, oh, God did open the door. So that's the closest analogy that I kind of go when I think of the Red Sea story. And I just find it funny how, and I find myself as Israelites as well. Oh, you brought us here to drown. Thanks. Now I'm going to die.
Many
I could have died in
times.
Egypt. But you want to kill me here. And I think we can find ourselves there oftentimes because it's like, God, why are you trying to change up? I'm used to this normal. Why are you trying to change my normal, God? Just so I can step into the unknown. And then it's not until He opens the door, does the miracle, and we get to the other side. It's like, God, that wasn't as bad as it seemed on the other side. And I think it's kind of like, man, why didn't I just trust you? As opposed to,
It's
Now I'm about to
interesting. Like we're very similar to the Israelites. We'll choose to be in depravity over like being uncomfortable in God's goodness, like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd rather go back to
for sure.
just, I mean, they weren't comfortable in Egypt, right? But that's what they knew, and it was like routine and normal, and they were fine with it, and so they wanted to go back to that, even though it wasn't even comfortable and odd. That's an odd thing to
Yeah, they
want.
literally said, "Let's go back to slavery." I was like, what? "You do realize y'all weren't getting y'all weren't getting the filet mignons. Y'all were getting the
instead of
that's
trusting
what's so interesting. Yeah,
and jumping into what could be better."
yeah,
I mean, there's always that fear,
definitely."
but I think it's just
you think
trusting the
about people in abusive relationships or people that are in situations that we know are not healthy for them, but like you're saying, it's just the norm. It's like they can't even fathom. If I wasn't in this, what would I be doing?
Yeah.
You know, and growing up, like I've seen relationships like that up close, and like where there could be change, and you're like, but what? But how would I change that? Like, not in this situation. And I was so thankful to get out of the out of the army, out of the area and into the army, just because I don't know, for up until like 18 or 19, my whole world was like Pensacola, Florida. Like I didn't really know anything else. Like I gotta get a job here and live here and work here. And then I went to the army and I realized, oh, there's like a whole world out here.
Yeah.
Like that you could do what I could have done there anywhere. And like, God, what do you, and he had me in all these places. And so, yeah, he leads us to those moments, to test us, to push us. And he always proves faithful. There's like Mount Zion has stories of about to be broke and God proving faithful through scrap metal and different things like that. Back in the day, I'm sure they have testimonies of things that God has done. You don't make it 178, 9 years without God having a ton of miraculous stories.
Yeah.
And so, as you think about your why, then back to that, what do you think that it could not persuade, that doesn't sound the right word. What could it motivate you, Sandy, as like the leader of a group of people to be able to tell them in relation to your why and what we know about the Red Sea?
Well, my why is Jesus. I mean, that's the church answer, but I mean,
Amen.
Literally, that's the reason why I do what I do. And being the worship leader and having to get to lead people into worship is a very hard ask. But I was thinking about this as we were reading the story, because it was like, you know, it's not a drastic, because when you think about where they went to the edge of the sea and it was like, oh, this is it, we're gonna die right here, that's drastic. But like smaller scale, being on stage every Sunday, and every Sunday morning I have to lead these people into worship. I'm always at that edge. I'm like, I don't know what more I can do. I don't know what more I can say, but Lord, just take me and use me. But he does. He always shows up and shows out, even though I think I can't do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's, I guess, part of, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, totally. Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah, I feel you.
Smaller scale than Red Sea, but
no doubt. And I think the same, because I'm like, every message I go up and preach, it doesn't matter where I flip into this Bible and turn to, I'm going to land on God is faithful and Jesus got you. Like, it doesn't matter what I start talking about. It's and so, yeah, I think about those things too every Sunday. Like, what more can I possibly go up here and say, God, that like I haven't like said already? And he keeps.
It's a very trust in the Lord job, because it's like I always follow the Holy Spirit whenever I lead worship, and you never know how that's gonna go. So it's a very trust in the Lord at this very moment type of environment. And
yeah, and so stories like this, we can go and be like, that's the same God. Like, he promises to be the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And so we can get to those moments and know that he's got us. I think sometimes we struggle with like, what is it going to look like? Like, can I actually do that? And, you know, and it always looks different, I think, majority of the time, of what I picture it was going to look like when God does whatever he does. You know, it very rarely looks like what I think it's going to look like. But God is always good and does it. And we get to sit back and just be like,
look at God.
Look at God.
Yeah.
And the scripture says like that people will notice that, and they'll see God working through us and give praise to our Father in heaven. And so that's part of our why. Like, we want people to see that God is faithful, that he is just, that he is righteous, that he will uphold whatever he said he'll do. Yeah. You know, and things like that. Any other thoughts? What else? Andre, how are we looking on time, producer? 45. That's a good number. That's a good round number. It's not even roundy, man. It's not,
I was just agreeing with you. No, I think just the human aspect, the easiest, hardest thing to do is what Moses told the Israelites to do: be still. I think it's like I could be still. 15, 20 minutes, like, all right now, something's got to happen. But I think if we can really embody that, be still and know that I am God, that should bring comfort as an individual. It's like, okay, I don't have to feel like I can take it all on, because if I just be still, God's already going to take care of it. He's already said it.
Of course.
But once again, that be still part, I think that's where the human part comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know if it matters between male and female, but is it easier for you to be still? No, okay, so no, because I was gonna say it is not easy for me. Like, I thought it might have been a guy thing where we're like trying to fix situations and stuff, but yeah, just how God makes different peoples. But yeah, being still is very hard, especially in the world we live in. It's just so fast paced, like everything is, no matter what it is, and so it's not slowing down any. And like if we're trying to keep up, we have to go at this rapid pace. Hence podcast and trying to figure out how to get them out to more people and all of this stuff. Is things 30 years ago that wasn't even a thing people thought about. It was like people just come to church and hear the message and they go home and they talk about it. I don't know what it is, but we're just in a world where we have to use every avenue we possibly can. And I'm just thankful that we have this one to get it out. We have a gym to get people into. We have just so many opportunities. And everyone that walks onto our property, or God's property, is coming here for a reason, right? Like they didn't just randomly show up here. And so every time we get to establish and tell the story of a parting of the Red Sea, or the creation story, or God saving this person from that and Daniel from this, and it just points to his faithfulness and his goodness. And then hopefully that is part of our why. And then we're just encouraging people, right? It's part of our whole mission for the podcast. And so, so we'll keep rocking with it. See where season 4 takes us. The end of season 3, maybe around 20, 21 episodes. I don't know. Season 4, we'll bring more guests for sure, because we always say guests are the ticket to numbers. You want numbies, you have to have good guests. And so we have good guests lined up. We're going to get them on our schedule, and then we'll be all good to go. Any other closing thoughts about the Red Sea? Moses, anything going on? You want to leave the people with the wise word from Sandy Stray?
Oh, trust in the Lord.
That's good. I thought she was about to start singing. Yeah. Any wise words from Emmanuel?
Just what I said earlier. When God shuts one door, he opens up another one, but also learn to be still.
Facts. All right. Be still. I love it. Thank you guys for participating. Andre, thank you for learning tonight with us. And we look forward to see what your expertise brings to the pod. And we'll get the numbers up, and we'll just make the impact for the kingdom, right? We set it out for somebody hear the words that are coming out of our mouth and find Jesus. We will be happy and give praise to God. So like, subscribe, share, do all those things. We appreciate you guys until 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. We'll say 2 weeks from now. Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Until then, stay prayed up.
Hey, we're muted. That was good. I think, are we averaging 45 minutes, basically?
Yeah, 45.